I'm not going to lie to you, kid. Boxing is looking suspect right about now. It's looking real bad. David Morrell receives the really bad news regarding his upcoming fight with Callum Smith. This is not a test. I wish I didn't have to report this, but in typical boxing fashion, I gotta report this. David Morrell is faced with a challenge, an obstacle, because he's a very good fighter. And in this video, I'm going to delve into it, give you guys an insight, let you know what's going on. There was a fight. Callum Smith and David Morrell Jr. And it's now been canceled, bro. Get this out of here, bro. Boxing looks horrible. What did Canelo say? Horrible fighter. You're horrible. Bro, boxing looks terrible. The fight got canceled. Smith versus Morrell. I made this graphic for you. Follow me on social media. I'm the illest out. I've been the illest out. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Nobody is coming close to giving you guys the quality and the knowledge that I'm giving you. And here we are again. The fight has been canceled, bro. What you want me to do? I'm sorry. And it's not because of David Morrell. Eddie Hearn's rematch room says, fight update. An injury has forced Callum Smith out of his light heavyweight clash with David Morrell at the blah, blah, blah arena in Liverpool. It was coming up this month, April 18th. So we're at the beginning week of April, and the fight was to commence in less than 2 weeks. The event will still go ahead with Ben Whitaker now headlining with Brian Suarez. Ticket refunds are available, yada, yada, yada. Man, boxing is no longer the same sport. Let me just say that. And I'm not trying to sound old-fashioned. It is what it is. It just ain't the same sport. Too many things get in the way. For example, back in the day, injuries happen, fight cancellation, postponement, whatever. It's always been a thing, right? Anytime you're dealing with humans, you have to worry about humans not showing up to work. It don't matter what the job is. But I distinctly remember Lennox Lewis fought Vitaly Klitschko on late notice and stopped him, by the way. And it was an epic fight as long as it lasted. So the fighters from yesteryear, like Big Lennox, the bad man, right? His late substitute is Vitaly Klitschko, right? My boy David Morrell, who I'm a big fan of, pause, he was supposed to main event, and now, according to Rematch Room's update, he's no longer, I guess, on the card. So I hope he's getting paid. I don't know how that works. And if he gets a percentage, if he gets the full purse, but he definitely deserves to get paid. It's not his fault that his opponent, imagine being a fighter, right? And you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars because you had a big fight, sparring partners, going to Whole Foods and getting nutritious foods and supplies, paying rent for not just your mortgage where you live permanently, but a lot of these fighters have training camps. So let's say you live in Texas, but you need to train in Colorado because you want the altitude, or you want to train in Vegas because whatever reason, the season or whatever. Now you got to rent a house, you got to rent rooms, or rent a house with multiple rooms and all be in the same house, whatever, for your sparring partners and so on and so forth. So you're spending money, you're buying war tape and mouthpieces, going to Fight Label or whoever to do your ensemble, your gear, and you're preparing for this fight, and you're already in the hole, or you're already spending your advance or whatever, and 2 weeks before the fight, boom, cancel that. I'll buy another one. So really, all that money down the drain for nothing. And then you don't get to show out and show off all the hard work. Not to mention running 10 miles and 8 miles and stuff and all the hard work that you put in for it. Right? Because that's all cutting weight. That definitely is not a fun part of boxing. Limiting what you could eat. And now this Callum Smith injury has derailed the whole event. And I've always been a person who believed in that old adage that says, if something appears to be too good to be true, then it usually is. And shout out to my boy Kamal Oz. I know for a fact that myself and Eagles Army, Kamal Oz, when I was doing lives and videos and stuff, we would tell you that David Morrell's a beast way back before other people were saying he was a beast, right? And that we didn't believe that Callum Smith really truly wanted to fight David Morrell. Always said that, right? So naturally, even though it was years later, when they decided to knuckle up and fight and it was announced and we seen flyers and stuff, I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe that's just where he's at in his career. He had a change of heart. David Morrell had a tough fight with this Russian dude that was juicy and failed a drug test. So maybe he's seen some vulnerabilities and now he's ready to fight David Morrell, and the fight got announced. Grand opening, grand closing. Now we're back to square one, which is what I said to begin with. The UK British fight. Oh, one more week, mate. The UK British fighter didn't really want to smoke for real in Callum Smith, and now he found a way out of the fight weeks before the fight. I knew this was too good to be true. I knew, because let's be real. I was picking David Morrell, like, I'm not going to say easy, but definitely. You know what I mean? I didn't see him losing the fight. And then now we get this, and the fight is canceled, and instead of, again, that's why I'm saying boxing has changed. You anoint Ben Whitaker versus some other guy we don't even know who he is. Why not put Ben Whitaker in there with David Morrell? In fact, David Morrell called out Ben Whitaker and says, how am I younger than you and you're more of a prospect than me? Which is a great question. So they're babying Ben Whitaker at this point in terms of the matchmaking, whilst Morrell just had a person in the same division, light heavy, and his opponent pulled out a UK guy, put in another UK light heavyweight, and Ben Whitaker. Ben Whitaker, when he's fighting the people he's fought, he's doing all this stuff and moving and like dancing around and stuff. Do that with David Morrell. That's all we saying. But that would be too much like right. And we can't always have what we want in the sport of boxing. We'll let you know every time.